When I found out that I was going to be a mom for the first time, it was very exciting for me. I actually had been diagnosed at the age of 14 with cervical cancer, so I was not supposed to have any children. I was supposed to have, I think it's called a bisectomy, taken my organs out, and it was a very emotional state of mind because my parents at the time were with me when I was diagnosed, and they were in total denial. So for me to tell my father at that time that I was going to be a mom was like a big thing for him. It was like starting all over. It was having the opportunity to have a little Alba again in his life and, enjoy that little baby again that, he saw that I was already a grown-up woman and about to be a mom. So I think that was a pivotal moment in my life. So total blessing.
The first time I found out I was going to be a mom, I was terrified. I knew I was going to be a single mom, so it was hard. It was hard, but there was no doubt in my mind that I was going to do my best to be a good mother.
The first time I found out that I was going to be a mom, I felt a sense of relief. We spent a couple months trying, and just the thought that we did it and it came to happen was amazing, and we were super excited.
Growing up, I wanted a big family. I wanted like 10 kids and all boys. I wanted all boys. I didn't know any better. Sorry, Chuchi. And I found out that I was having a girl, and God knows best. He gave me a girl, which she's wonderful. And after experiencing motherhood and the pain and all that, I just stuck to one.
Okay, so the challenges of being a mom and being a single mom are even double the work, but double the blessing. And I would say that being a single mom has a lot of characteristics involved and a lot of character involved. When I say that is you need to keep in mind that you have to be sane. You have to be healthy in the mind to begin with, but at the same time, have a healthy heart and have a very strong connection with God. Because if you don't have God, you don't have Jesus, you are going to fail as a mom and as a single mom, which is even harder nowadays. So one of the challenges is just being able to keep your mind sane, I would say.
I think the biggest challenge of being a mom is you feel a lot of guilt. If you work, you feel guilt. If you don't work, you feel guilt. If you're trying, anything you do, you feel guilt. And the doubt. Am I raising them right? Am I sending them to the right school? Am I teaching them the right way? Those I think are some of the biggest challenges of being a mom.
I think the biggest challenge of being a mom is being everything and everywhere for everyone at all times.
My main challenge was when I had my daughter, her father and I split up when she was a baby, and I didn't have that planned. I always wanted to have kids and raise them with mom and dad. I didn't have that growing up, so that's what I wanted to do. So that was a little bit life-changing for me, but God was there since the beginning, and He blessed me, and it has been great. And He also blessed me with Prince Charming, my husband, and he helped me raise my daughter. And another challenge was our blended family, learning to cope with that and deal with that. But it was actually great since they were small, and I've been blessed. I can't ask for more.
Raising my kids in the way of the Lord, I think, is my biggest responsibility. I think it's my most important job as a mom, to make sure that their salvation, I think that's my biggest responsibility. To this day, one of the happiest days of my life was when my then 11-year-olds came to us and told us, Mommy, Papi, we want to get baptized. And I grilled them to make sure that it wasn't just because they had heard us, what do you think baptism is to you? Everything. And they were ready, and they did it. Christmas service 2018.
Okay, so when I first got divorced from my ex-husband, which is an unsaved man, of course, which was a big mistake because it says don't marry unequally yoked, don't be unequally yoked. I ended up being homeless, which was a very, very, very strong moment in my life, a very hard moment in my life. I slept in my car with my children for about 8 weeks. and we were bathing in different hotels, motels, fast food restaurants. We ended up living in a shelter for 4 months, but I understood my purpose in life when I was homeless and when I ended up living in a shelter, which helped me understand why God made me. And then I'm able to fulfill my purpose every single day. When I meet one woman a day and I talk to her about my purpose in life, I'm able to touch her life, and I see how God works daily in my life by sharing that testimony that I went through and that journey that I embraced with my smaller children when we were homeless. And I want to say that God was the one thing that kept me sane, the only one that kept me going, the only one that gave me hope. And I remembered that everything was, temporary, and that God was going to rise me up, but rise me up so that I can go out and then help other women that were going through the same thing that I was going through.
My children are my ministry, and it's something that I definitely don't take lightly. Eternally, it could be a life or death issue. So for me, it's of utmost importance.
All the hard work is definitely worth it. There's days that are challenging, but then you have days that they'll leave you a little note that says, you're the best mom in the world, or I love you, thank you, and it makes it all worth it. One word I would use to describe a mother: love. And if to go a little bit further, unconditional love.
I believe everyone should raise their kids in the Lord. I didn't have that opportunity, and that's what I wanted to do for how many kids I had. I just had one daughter and my stepdaughter, and that was the challenge, to instill that since she was a baby. And it's a privilege. I didn't have that growing up, and I made many mistakes in my life, and I didn't want my kids to make the same mistakes. And even if they did, they always have something to come back to, which I didn't know that growing up. And that is just a blessing.
To raise the children in the ways of the Lord are super important, because if I was not raised in God's ways when I was a young person, I would say that I would be lost. I would have said that I would have probably have had a couple of abortions if I wasn't raised in God's ways. I would have been confused and traumatized and not able to live the life that I'm living today, because when you have God with you, you're able to live a life of peace, love, joy, under His mercy and guided under His wings. And I'm not talking about financially, I'm talking about more like emotionally, mentally, and even physically. So when you walk in God's ways, there's no mistake. I mean, it's a must.
So about 3 weeks ago, my mom passed away, and she was an amazing mom. And so as a mom of 4 now, my goal is to make sure that I carry along everything that she poured out in me. And I every decision that I make, that's the way that I spend my time, I really just look back at everything that she was able to do in the time that she raised me, and it gives me the fuel to do the same, and even, make sure that we do it in a way where they'll have an eternal impact in them because of what we pour into them.
My daughter, she is a great young woman, and I wish at her age that I would have been that type of girl that she is. And it has shown that being raised in the Lord and in His ways, she has not departed. And the Word says it, and God's Word is real. And I just pray that, every day for her to stay in the Word. And she always has something to come back to. And just that solid foundation, she always has that, and I think it's a blessing.
If I have to do it again and go back to being a mom for the first time, I'd do it 5 times more. So I would have 10 children instead of 5. So yes. One thing to describe me as a mom, I would say loving, because I have no patience, but I have a lot of love.
I was raised by my grandmother, who's no longer here. I do have a relationship with my mom, but I think that dynamic with my grandmother is what shaped me and molded me to become the person that I am today. I think that if I can be half the mom that she was to me, I'd be good.
Moms are a true blessing, and I just want to wish all mothers a happy Mother's Day, and they really are a blessing, you know.